Good morning, students. How are you? After a long time, we again start our class from today. So, today I will discuss about industrial sector during British rule. This is the chapter for class 12 economics. Now, students, I will discuss about it. I think all the students have NCERT book. This chapter I will discuss from NCERT book 1.4 Industrial Sector. Students, as in the case of agriculture, so also manufacturing, this is the which sector? Industrial sector. Manufacturing sector means industrial sector. Primary sector, secondary sector. This is the secondary sector. We have discussed about primary sector, agricultural sector. Now we will discuss about the secondary sector, manufacturing sector or industrial sector. India could not develop a sound industrial base under the colonial rule. Even as the country's world famous handicraft industries declined, no corresponding modern industrial base was allowed to come up to take pride of place so long enjoyed by the former. Because during that time our main occupation was agriculture. Okay, and no industrial sector has been, nothing has been, remarkable change has been shown during that time in industrial sector. We cannot see any significant improvement in the three sector: the agricultural sector, industrial sector and service sector. Okay, the primary motive of the colonial government behind this policy of systematic deindustrializing India was twofold. Deindustrializing, that means no improvement in industrial sector. Okay, systematic deindustrializing, because during that time there are twofold motive. So one question which is very important come from this chapter, that is the twofold motive of deindustrialization. So here is the answer of this question. The intention was, the first motive was to reduce India to the status of a mere exporter of important raw materials from the upcoming modern industries in Britain. And why modern industries? Students, as we all know, during that time, industrial revolution was going on in Britain. So they need lots of raw material. So where they can get it? They get all the raw materials from India. So India become the importer of raw materials of their industrial revolution. Clear? And second motive also was there, to turn India into a sprawling market for the finished product of those industries, so that their continued expansion could be ensured to the maximum advantage of their home country Britain, which was their home country. Their home country was Britain. So always we all love our country. Which country we belongs to? They belongs to Britain. So they always think about which will help Britain to become a prosperous country. So, to make Britain prosperous, after producing the industrial goods, they need to sell it where they can sell. they chosen India to sell those machine-made finished goods. And their machine-made finished goods was very cheap compared to our handicraft goods. That's also ruin our handicraft industry. Okay. So first two motive was there. First, what is this? To collect the raw material from India. Second motive was to sell the finished goods in India. In the unfolding economic scenario, the decline of indigenous handicraft industries created not only massive unemployment in India but also new demand in the Indian consumer market because handicraft industry was destroyed by them, but demand was there. People need all those things. So how they fulfill their demand? Consumers, how they fulfill their demand? They fulfill their demand by the machine-made finished goods which comes from the Britain. So this the decline in handicraft industry not only the increase the unemployment but also increase the consumers market also. Demand also in the market demand also increase. The decline in handicraft industry because we have to fulfill our demand. Our demand is there, so for that reason this increased the two things. This demand was profitable made by the increasing import of cheap manufactured goods from the Britain. Clear? I told you the machine-made goods were very cheap compared to the handicraft industry's product. So for that reason, each and everyone buying the machine-made foreign goods. So which increase the demand of machine-made finished goods. During the hard time, also some industrial revolution also we can see during that time, like cotton and jute textile industries, some very few capital industries, cement industry, sugar industry, all these things. So now we will discuss about it. Students, see this map. This is the picture of Indian map before the partition. Here you can see this part. This part was famous for jute industries, and this part was famous for cotton industry. Gujarat and Ahmedabad, Bombay, Ahmedabad, Gujarat, all these part famous for cotton industry. Clear? And this part, Kolkata, West Bengal, Bangladesh, this part famous for jute industry. West Bengal collect raw material from Bangladesh and produce the jute in Kolkata. Okay. Cotton and jute textile mills. During the second half of the 19th century, modern industry began to take root in India, but its progress remained very slow. Initially, this development was confined to the setting up of cotton and jute textile industry. The cotton textile mills mainly dominated by Indians, were located in western part of the country. So cotton textile mills dominated by whom? Indians, but jute mill dominated by foreigners. The cotton textile mills, mainly dominated by Indians, were located in the western part of the country, namely Maharashtra, Gujarat, while the jute mills, dominated by foreigners, were mainly concentrated in Bengal. During that time, partition was not there. West Bengal and Bangladesh, they are together. Now, iron and steel industries. Subsequently, the iron and steel industry began coming up in the beginning of the 20th century. The Tata Iron and Steel was TISCO was incorporated in 1907. A few other industries in the field of sugar, cement, paper, etc. come up after the Second World War. However, there was hardly any capital good industries to help promote further industrialization in India. Why iron and steel industry in improve in during that time? Because of the Second World War. Second World War, they need lots of weapon which produced by iron and steel. For that reason, Tisco flourished during that time. Now I am showing you the founder of Tisco. Jamshedpur, we all know about Jamshedpur. Jamshedji Nasrwanji Tata is the full name. He was the founder of Tisco. This is the picture of Tisco in Jamshedpur. Now, the current head of Tisco, Ratan Tata, picture of Ratan Tata. You know all about it. Drawbacks. Capital goods industry means industries which can produce machines, tools, which are in turn used for producing articles for current consumption. The establishment of a few manufacturing units here and there was no substitute to the near wholesale displacement of the country traditional handicraft industries. They ruined our handicraft industry. Furthermore, the growth rate of the new industrial sector and its contribution to the GDP, gross domestic product, remain very small. Capital industry, industrial sector's contribution towards our GDP remain very small. Not only industrial sector, agricultural sector, and service sector. All the sectors' contribution towards our GDP very small. Another significant drawback of the new industrial sector was the very limited area of operation of the public sector. Very limited area. Public sector operate during that time very limited. Our health sector, our transport sector, they are not thinking about it. So they operate very small area. This only the cities where the British peoples are living only during those sectors. This part has been flourished. This sector remained confined only to the railways, power generation, communication, ports, and some other departmental undertakings, which British peoples needed. Only those sectors flourished. Now, students see this picture. This is the First train in India, picture of first train in India from Bombay to Thane, 1953. Now is the worksheet. Name some modern industries which were in operation in our country at the time of independence. So as we all know, textile industry, jute industries, iron and steel industries, cement industries, sugar industries. So from there you can mention all the industries name. What was the twofold motive behind the systematic deindustrialization effected by the British in pre-independent India? We all also discuss about it. You can write this answer. What was the state of industrial sector under British rule? So you have to write all the things and drawbacks also. What do you mean by capital goods industry? Discuss the status of such industries during the British rule. You have to write about iron and steel industries, cement industry, sugar industry. So you have to write about all those things. Which Indian industry adversely affected due to the partition of India and why? As we all know, the which industry adversely affected, that is our jute industry. Here you again we are seeing the Indian map before the partition. I told you before the partition, West Bengal and Bangladesh together. After the partition, the new name because of the East Pakistan, which is the now the name of East Pakistan is Bangladesh. Because of the partition, jute industry suffer for the raw material. They are getting raw material from East Pakistan. But now because of the partition, they are suffering for raw materials. So this partition hamper our jute industry badly. Here the answer. Jute industry was adversely affected due to the partition of India because the whole of the jute producing area become part of East Pakistan. Now the name is Bangladesh. Clear? The second one is because of that India's jute goods industry suffered heavily for the lack of raw materials. Clear? So thank you students. That's all for today. Bye. I hope this lesson you understood very well and you can answer all the question, answer it. So complete the worksheet and submit it within this week. Within the next class, you have to submit all the question answer. If you have any problem, you can call me. I will help you.